Here we go. Thank you, Jerry Jones. I had a great time. Thank you. I'm going to exit the building now. Like a loser.
The house that Jerry Jones built?
It's a house for losers.
Yep.
Charles Haley was 100%
Charles Haley was
right. This, friends, is a house for losers.
Pretty much.
We suck. We suck. But I had a great trip. Well, happy game day morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and our funky chicken. Okay, our funky chicken. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It's game day. Oh my goodness, it's game day. 1 of 8 that we have left. And as I always say, each week is an opportunity to prove that you belong as one of those teams that had the opportunity to win a Super Bowl. This season has been abysmal, to say the least. It seems like everything that Jerry Jones has touched this year has literally turned to shit, including the debacle that was just Friday night fights at AT&T, where literally the signal could not get out. Okay, millions of people tuned in to AT&T to see the curtains up for the fights. That was at night, and could not watch because the broadcasts of Netflix kept buffering. And this is the new partner with the NFL that's going to have not 1, not 2, but 3 Christmas Day games on it. So there's that. Yeah, but for the Cowboys facing the Texans truly a team that's going in the opposite direction of the Dallas Cowboys. A Dallas Cowboys team that literally has a third of the roster on the injury report. That C.D. Lamb, although they think he's going to be okay, he just tweaked his back on the 7-on-7 drills. Plan to see Jonathan Mingo, who's the latest wide receiver hope for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have been all season selling you on the next great Dallas Cowboy wide receiver. From Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Tolbert, he's been looking really good in training camp with Dak Prescott. He's gotten a repertoire with him, and we're going to expect great things out of him to go along with C.D. Lamb. Of course, Brandon Cooks was thought to be our number 2 receiver, who's been injured most of the season. And this is where I have a problem with the Cowboys. The Cowboys put everything on hope and prayer and underestimate the length of injuries and severity. For a team that claims to have world-class doctors, sometimes you wonder, what the hell's going on? Brandon Cooks, I'm telling you, when I was in training camp, Brandon Cooks was not practicing on a regular. A week before training camp ended, he went to Dallas for undisclosed. What they said was, he's going back a week early for something positive. And here it is, he's been injured with an infection in his knee. When you think about Deron Bland, who they said, he'll miss like 2 or 3 games. The season is half over now, guys. And he's still not practicing. You're at the point of the season is lost. What you need to do is pack it in and try and find out who can play. And so this is where you're kind of like, when somebody gets injured, don't take the under, take the over. And here's where I think, is Jerry Jones admitting that they made a mistake on Trey Lance? So I'm trying to understand this, because they didn't give up anything to get Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, they signed him. And typically most teams just sign a backup. They may trade, like Mac Jones, I think, for, excuse me, a seventh-round pick. Pardon me. A seventh-round pick or something like that. But not too many use a fourth-round pick to trade for a backup quarterback whose contract is up at the end of the year. Not only that, he's one of the highest paid backups in the NFL. I want to say that he's the fourth highest paid backup in the NFL. And what he said as far as playing him or starting him, Cooper has shown that he has the capability to compete and win games. He does give us our best chance. Rush has been a winner in limited reps as starter. He entered the 24 season with a 5-1 record and 6 starts with the Cowboys. He won the first 5 starts of his career in 21 and 22, becoming just the 14th quarterback, first Cowboy in history to achieve that feat. And for those out there that have, put their hopes on Cooper Rush, because Cooper Rush won those games. Cooper Rush, and this is a problem that I have with people. Cooper Rush was part of the win of those games. You can throw the perfect pass, but if you end up tipping it up and it becomes an interception, it doesn't matter how good a pass you throw. We've seen that against the Jacksonville Jaguars where Noah Brown tipped the ball up on a perfect pass and ends up being a pick six and the game's over. You have to have players out there to make plays, something that the Cowboys don't seem to understand, that you have to stockpile talent, not just put all your eggs in one or two baskets and say, we paid CD, that's all we need to win. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So, for the Cowboys, and it's not good. We'll see if Mingo, who, like Jalen Tolbert, like Ryan Fenoy, I can't wait. Remember Jerry? The forever salesman. I can't wait till Ryan Fenoy gets out there. Well, yeah. But the Cowboys may luck into a couple of wins here and there that may hurt their draft position. Hell, for all we know, they could turn it around and catch lightning in a bottle. But I kind of doubt that. It's possible, but I kind of doubt it. This ship is sinking, and it's sinking fast. And it just seems to get uglier by the week. The only real question will be is, what will the ramifications be when the season is over? Will Jerry and Stephen Jones continue to do everything the same way, the way that we got into this mess, or will they try something different? I, for one, believe that when you do not evolve, and this is so key. Watching Yellowstone last night. Okay? The woman that she's getting dropped off at the airport, she's saying to him, in 2 generations, to the cowboy, in 2 generations, your job will be gone. And he said, John Deere. He said, John Deere started out making wagons. He said, but they recognized that horse-drawn wagons was dying out. So they started making gasoline-powered ones. They adapted and they changed and they evolved. And they're still making tractors 100 years later. That's the problem for the Cowboys is they're still making wagons when everybody else is making tractors. They have to start making tractors, and they're behind. Coach Prime,
Okay. I've been on the fence about this topic for a while, and then I realized they want to be entertaining. And Deion Sanders is going to give you that, and he has a chance. Actually, I think that personality in the resume that he has a chance to have the respect of the locker room. It's really tough for any other coach to step in there with the sideshow that is Jerry Jones and still maintain the respect of the locker room. I think Deion could pull it off.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I've been around the block and back a few times, not as many times as Paul Feinbaum, but close. Paul and I are walking the same route at this point. And this is too much in the ether not to be a thing, right? There's too many people talking about it. So it's coming from somewhere, I don't know where, but it's out there. This is a thing now. Deion to the Cowboys is a thing that someone wants to happen. Paul, does it make sense? You've watched what he's done in college the last few years. Colorado having a nice season. Does it make sense to you for Deion to leave college and become the coach of the Cowboys?
Absolutely. It makes more sense with the Cowboys, really, than it did even at Colorado, because in some ways it's an easier job. I know that sounds ridiculous, but what he's had to overcome at Colorado to get them in a situation where we're talking about them as a conference champion or maybe even a CFP entrant is really spectacular and one of the craziest stories I have ever seen. But the reason why I think he works with Dallas, and it was mentioned a minute ago, not only does he help the locker room, he might be the only person in America that Jerry Jones will listen to. And that's the most important thing. Yes, he relies on his son, but he would also look at Deion as his other son. And I think that could be the ticket. We all know the glitz and the glamour of the most valuable franchise in sports. You put Deion in there, not only as the centerpiece of that, put him some great coaches around him, which obviously has to happen, and let Jerry pay attention to someone other than himself.
That's the $10 billion question, right?
Yes.
Would Jerry do it? Jeff, I mean, does it make sense?
I love it.
There's so much about it that feels like a show. We keep talking about the Cowboys like they're a show.
Yeah.
What a show they are. They're an unbelievable show. They get great ratings every week. Everybody, but they can't play.
No.
Does it make sense to you to hire Deion Sanders as a coach?
Absolutely. When he hits the locker room, he's an incredible CEO. He's going to get the right coaches. Why? Because people will want to be around him. This guy, he exudes success and confidence. Every player who's played wants to be where he has gone. Dude gave, well, I can't say, but he didn't care when he was in the league. He did what he want, how he want. He coaches the same way. When he walks in the locker room, he has a cachet of men. I've been to the Hall of Fame. I should have a separate room in the Hall of Fame. Here's what we should do. And guys, listen. And Jerry Jones can figure out. But the other part, he holds guys accountable. That's what Dallas needs. It's not going to be about the Micah Parsons podcast. It's going to be about what Micah's doing on the field. He's going to get everything. And not that he's not going to allow them to do that.
I'm not saying he's going to bring them because of that. Because it's not going to be about the Micah podcast. It's going to be about the Deion reality show. He's going to bring that along with him, which I think it's important for us to point out all the glitz and glamour and how that fits in well here. But fundamentally, Deion's teams, they've played the type of football that people like me and Jeff really like.
Absolutely.
It's important to make sure that the fundamentals are sound. And I think Deion recognized that. He's played in Dallas. He has the respect. I could see it working. And there's no other coach that I could make an argument. This is a very unique situation. I wouldn't say that Deion is best in every place, but I think because he is so unique, I could see it possibly working here for him.
I loved everything that Paul said because, when the question is posed to me about should the Cowboys hire Deion, my thing is, well, it doesn't matter who Jerry hires next unless Jerry understands that Jerry has to change. Jerry cannot have complete authority, autonomy on everything from the draft to who he gives out money to being the media relations person, to being the spokesperson. He has to relinquish something. And to Paul's point, Deion might be the guy that Jerry says, all right, I cede my power to him a little bit.
Listen, I guess I can't be. I've learned enough not to say I'm certain of anything. I'm pretty certain Jerry Jones is never going to do that.
It's got to be somebody, because all these guys that come in and sort of have to sit. Jerry cuts off the authority of the head coach. He undercuts them, not on purpose, I hope, but he does this routinely.
I agree with that, but I think the point I'm making about Deion is he doesn't need Jerry's backing for the guys in the locker room to listen to him.
He comes in with instant credibility. Instant credibility.
Yeah, that's the difference.
That part of it I get, but I mean, it didn't work with Bill Parcells, and he had the ultimate credibility, and it didn't work with Jimmy Johnson, and he had the ultimate credibility.
It didn't work with Jimmy Johnson. He screwed it up.
It worked. Who screwed it up?
Jerry.
Well, that's my point.
But he got a couple Super Bowls first.
But he doesn't like anyone else being the center of attention, and Deion Sanders is automatically the center of attention anywhere he goes. I think someone who doesn't want anyone talking to him at all is the perfect coach for him, which is why I think Bill Belichick makes so much sense there. I think Belichick will be like, okay, I'll still do McAfee, but that's it. He'll be like Aaron Rodgers.
He's become a media guy. I don't know if he goes back. He got a taste of his. He got a taste.
So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Paul, now's when I really need you. Let's get to these CFP.
It's funny that they basically have said, everybody keeps saying, well, who should be the coach of the Cowboys next year? It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter if we are going to do things as currently constructed. Until not we, I can't say we, it's Jerry and Stephen Jones. If they continue to be we're going to hire the assistant coaches, we're going to be the ones to pick the players and everything else. If they're going to be the ones doing that, then sorry, we're not changing. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. We will be in the same location. And this is where you have to look at it and say, this is the definition of insanity. Jerry and Stephen Jones have been in charge of team since they fired Jimmy Johnson, from hiring Barry Switzer and the coaches and doing the team evaluation and bringing in the players and stuff. Yeah, they've had some decent years that maybe they should have gone further than they did. I'll say the 2017 was definitely one. They actually went out in free agency and they brought and filled in holes. That was the last time that you can say they actually did a really good job of getting talent. And having come off of having Bill Parcells here as a coach. But since that time, it's been kind of crazy. And it has not worked. And if they continue to do it the same way, we'll get the same results. So we're stuck where we are. I'm happy at least that I was able to see the Dallas Cowboys through their glory days. And now we're living in the glory hole days. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll be back at the Man Cave tonight. We'll be live streaming the Dallas Cowboys versus the Texans. Both teams coming off losses. 2 teams enter. Who's going to exit with the victory? I'll see you guys really soon.
Here we go. Thank you, Jerry Jones. I had a great time. Thank you. I'm going to exit the building now. Like a loser. The house that Jerry Jones built? It's a house for losers. Yep. Charles Haley was 100% right. This, friends, is a house for losers.
Pretty much.
We suck. We suck.